Greetings, programs! It is on like Tron, and joining me from the grid of man, it's Eric. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Thank you very much.
And Tron is back in the news. I'm almost kind of sad about that because I do love a good dead property. Tron has been dead a few times.
Yeah.
Dead for quite a while, brought back for Legacy, died again. Legacy is my Star Wars A New Hope moment. I tell
Nice.
everyone that. Everyone who has those great stories about, I went to see New Hope back in 77 and it was amazing and I went to see it 10 times. Well, I saw Legacy and I just sat there dumbfounded and stunned.
Yeah.
Like this, I've seen great movies. I've seen T2, I've seen Lord of the Rings. I've seen great movies, but after Legacy, I sat there and I went, this was a freaking masterpiece. I need to see this immediately again. And I saw it 2 more times in theaters, which I never do. And to this day, just the thought of Legacy makes me very happy. But the first movie, I'm not the biggest fan. You are, though. You're a huge fan of the first one.
I was huge into Tron when I was a kid, and I always had like kind of a obsession with it. I think just the aesthetic of it, and arguably it's not the most incredibly well crafted film story wise and everything, but there was just something that resonated with me with when I was a kid with that movie. And I really do think it was the look and the glow of their the outfits and the circuitry and the video game speak. And I think it was probably the first movie that really kind of validated video games as kind of a culture, that used a lot of language that you really only knew if you were into games or computers. And I thought it was a really, really interesting movie. Of course, a lot of it was totally over my head until I got a little bit older and understood a little bit more about computers and games. But it's amazing what they actually stacked into that film.
Yeah.
What was it, 82, I think? So, yeah. Really, really great. And the toys are a whole other story we'll get into because there's a great story with that.
I always appreciated the look of it, the original movie. I mean, as well, that city at night look, being able to download into a video game. That's another reason why I'm such a huge fan of Reboot, that mainframe series from the 90s Reboot. It's got such strong Tron influence there. But then Tron Legacy, they just took it to the next level and added the Daft Punk music, which I think is, for me, what the original is missing. The music that went along with the visuals, and they really nailed it. Before we start talking about the new merchandise, we're going to take a look at some existing Tron merchandise, which is in your incredible Tron collection here. In this first image we're looking at, I feel like we could sit here and talk for an hour just about this picture here.
Yeah. So these, there's some fun there. So I got to preface this whole thing by explaining why I have a little bit of a fascination, or I would say almost obsession with Tron figures. When I was a kid, of course, we already talked about this. I loved the movie. I saw it in the theater. I remember at the time it was the first movie I ever saw that was in stereo. So like the sound of it just blew me away as well. And, Wendy Carlos's soundtrack and everything just for its time was just way out there. Yeah. And I always wanted the toys. And I think I saw the commercial for them once. They were made by Tomy. And they were those toys when we were kids that were in and out of stores like faster than you could blink. It was like stores got like a couple shipments of them and never got them again. So I always wanted the toys really, really, really badly. I saw one figure at retail, which was a Sark figure. I was with my dad, who was a huge cheapskate, who absolutely refused to buy it for me. I said, I'll mow the lawns, I'll clean the house, I'll clean the gutter. Please.
He did not fight for the user.
No. Yep, no. Yeah, he was all about master control. So I missed that, and I was always bummed because I just thought the figures were just, the translucent quality of them, and I was always obsessed with translucent figures when I was a kid.
Well, I was just gonna say, as a huge Tron fan, and then seeing Tron toys, especially 5POA, which would have been your bread and butter, right? The Star Wars figure style, and then on top of that, clear translucent plastic. It must have been, for an old school Tron fan, it must have been just mind blowing to see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there was nothing like them at the time. I think there were a couple Fisher Price toys that were translucent. The Fisher Price space adventure people,
Hmm.
but it just looked fascinating. So I totally missed out on those for retail or getting any of them. Now, what I did do was at some point after that. I mean, I still really really wanted Tron toys. Well, my friend, this kid named Aaron, who lived down the street from us, had a Tron and a light cycle. And so we decided we would trade. So I traded him Mirage, my Mirage Transformer, for Tron and his light cycle. And that was a pretty rad trade at the time. And then it was, kind of obvious. I remember my mom had gotten mad at me because she's like, "Do you know how much those Transformers cost?"
Well,
and
yeah, but that
uh,
Mirage waste, do you know how fragile that is? You got rid of a
yeah,
time bomb, basically.
yeah. So I ended up with Tron and the yellow light cycle, which I had for years and years and years, which I think was part of a load of toys when I was about 13 or 14 that I took to like a almost like a charity kind of shop, like a consignment sort of store, and sold this big box of toys for I think like $20, and it was gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was one of those things where years later I just regretted getting rid of it, and then when
How could you
Nika,
know, man? It's like selling
yeah,
a blender
yeah.
at a garage sale for $5, and 30 years later, someone tells you that particular blender is worth $2,000. Like, how would you know?
Yeah, exactly. You really, who could ever say? So years later, when Nika brought out their Tron reproduction figures, I bought the whole line in
Hmm.
2 seconds.
They
I
nailed it.
got
They look
Yeah, yeah,
exactly like the old ones.
they really do. The only one, so I bought all four of the originals. They look the same. The plastic doesn't seem quite as robust as the
Mm.
originals. I think somehow
Well,
it
it's
seems.
NECA, right?
Yeah, it
They
feels
got to
kind
put
of.
in like I think 75% peanut brittle
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
solution there.
So I got those, and I got the light cycles. I never found the actual cycle that came with Flynn, but I ended up finding Flynn himself because they came with an alternate colored figure that was like a gray clear plastic with the
Yeah,
colored circuitry that looks a little bit more like the movie.
yeah.
I ended up finding Flynn on an auction, and I don't know if they actually ever made the guard. Um, but anyways, so I have the red and the yellow repro cycles and the original four. I ended up finding all but the Master Control guard of the original vintage line as well. So basically, a full collection of what I could find. I also ended up collecting all the other Tron figures I could find. I got the line from Diamond Select that came out a while ago. I didn't buy the
Is
Infiltrator Flynn.
is that the guys in the back there? The
That's me. Yes, the very very back.
okay,
hmm
yeah.
and Then I also got the
These are all
all of the
pictures you took. I just want to let people
yeah,
know.
yeah. I got the what was it? The not Kubrick. Who made them? The little spindly ones that look like the Micronauts guys. I picked
Oh,
those up.
Metacom.
Metacom. Thank you. I
Yeah,
knew
I
I
had
was
one of
thinking Bear
those.
Bricks. Yeah.
Spindly is a great word. I had one of
hmm
those, and I got rid of it eventually because it's just too spindly. Although the cycle was great that it came with.
Yeah. The light cycles are dead on. They're perfect. The figures themselves. What I like about them is they're a little bit more kind of film accurate, if you will, even though they are rather on the skinny side.
Yeah.
Um, Then I also ended up not too long ago getting the San Diego Comic Con exclusives that were remolded in the original kind of clear plastic,
These right here,
which are gorgeous. Those are gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous
the
toys.
big ones right there, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
they're like 7 inches, about a little bit larger than 6 inches.
That'll
Um,
always be a part of Tron, even though these aren't movie accurate. The
mhm,
fact that the original toys were clear plastic, I think they could have put out some legacy figures in clear plastic like that, and it'll just always be a part of Tron, even though that's,
mhm.
screen accurate.
Yeah, this particular figure, there was a Tron and a Sark that were part of the Kingdom Hearts line. Then these are more like, I think they're just about 6 inches. They're a little bit
Mm.
smaller. These are actually great figures for display. They're not quite as articulated, but the lines are cleaner because of it, even compared to like the Diamond Select toys. But yeah, I like these a lot, actually. I think these are probably two of my favorites. The only thing about these is the colors are a little strange on them, compared to the Diamond Select, which really pulled off a super film accurate kind of look to everything.
Mhm.
These pictures here I doctored a little bit to make the circuitry pop out. Same thing with the Sark picture,
Yeah.
just for fun. Um,
Ooh.
they were on my Instagram, which has been hacked and I can't get into anymore. So,
Yeah. Anyone
uh,
listening, if you work at Instagram or know someone who works at Instagram, help us out.
thank you. Um, but yeah, and I took a couple of these pictures of the lights. I guess I just dropped it on a
Are these the
reflective piece of
Metacom
glass.
ones or the
These are the
original
Metacoms. Yeah,
that came with
yeah.
the light trail,
They
right?
do. They can't. It's like it actually acts as a stand. It hooks into the back,
Yeah.
and it's like a little like L-shaped
With the
piece of
sharp 90
plastic.
degree angle to it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
That's a
gorgeous.
great idea.
But yeah, these look absolutely wonderful. Um, and yeah, there's more shots, a little cleaner shot of the of this. The original, the other pick, I think I'd been trying to light with UV light because part of what they had said was that it was like fluorescent type paint that would fluoresce under UV light. It doesn't, at least not on the blue ones. It does a
Mhm.
little bit on the red ones. Strangely, the other Diamond Select ones, it's kind of the same. The blue doesn't fluoresce. The orange on Sark does.
Yeah.
Like that was enhanced in Photoshop, but I think there's an altered picture in there, of Sark that has the that's under UV light, and it does glow. It's really quite
That
striking.
looks right out of the movie right there.
Hmm.
If I don't remember ever seeing Tron toys. The first translucent toys I remember seeing, I believe, were Crystar, as well as there's
Yeah.
some Black Star
Uh-huh.
figures had
Hmm.
clear parts. There's like one guy who had clear parts you can put on him to make him look like a wolf or something. But I think I would have been a bigger Tron fan of the original one if I had seen these, because in addition to clear, they had the glow in the dark discs, which is
Hmm.
like gimmick overload. In addition to the clear, you get the glow in the dark disc too.
Yeah.
You can see even the big ones that they redid give them the glow in the dark discs as well.
Yeah, yeah, that was really cool to see. It was a nice touch. They really, this to me was if I was going to say a really well done tribute set, this
Hmm.
is this is this does the job.
Yeah.
I think they knocked it out of the park on these, and I'm sure there are people that don't like them. I think they're just gorgeous.
Well,
I saw the set and I was like, I gotta have that.
since you use the expression "knocked it out of the park," because I feel like every toy discussion needs to have that said at least once. Knocked it out of the park. Every toy or movie discussion, someone needs
Hmm.
to say if it's good. Knocked it out of the park. Someone also with toys that are influenced or homages to original toys. Someone also needs to say that those big ones are what it was like to hold the original in your hand when you were a kid. I feel
Hmm.
like I say that quite often too. But
Yeah,
the fact that they just basically took the old ones, upsized them, you get to have that experience again. What it was like to hold a 4-inch Tron figure.
yeah, it really does. That's the cool thing about whenever you see like the new 6-inch Joes and the 6-inch Star Wars figures, it does when you hold them. It feels right. Yeah,
They knock it out of the park.
they did.
Nice. Oh, beautiful. That's another
Mm.
Photoshop one. And
So these
customs.
these I had been working on. This is actually kind of an ongoing project. I'd taken a couple molds of one of the Tron figures, and I'd been working on trying to make what I would call the perfect Tron figure, which was I was trying to do it out of clear blue plastic, and then trying to work out a way that I could cut the circuitry as masks, put it on, and then spray gray over it. So the lines, when you pull off the masking, you'd see all the circuitry designs as the clear blue plastic, but gray everywhere else, like the in movie toys. And I
Yeah.
was getting close on the molds; they weren't coming out wonderful. But I was trying a couple different processes, mixing in glowing glow in the dark powder, to where they'd glow a little bit more, even under like UV light stuff that has glow in the dark, luminescent powder in it or
Cool.
pigment, will glow even more. So this is sort of an ongoing project I might figure out someday. It's hard because you see like the Toy Weaver who does those
Oh
incredible
yeah.
end of line figures that I want so bad. If I'm ever at a convention where that guy's at, I'm going to get some. I don't think he sells, or at least not very often, on like Etsy or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I do want to get a set of those. They're amazing looking.
Those are big time unfinished business figures because he's not just
Yeah.
reissuing them, he's doing ones that never got done, like Yori and Ram, and in
Yeah.
different colors, right? They never made a yellow one, so he made a yellow one.
Yeah, and he's even, I think he's either doing or done like a Dumont even,
Oh, cool.
yeah, his work is just amazing. If anyone is out there that doesn't follow him, that's into like toy customs, they're quite awesome. And the
Yeah.
neat thing about it is he doesn't approach them like toys. They're sort of like one-off tributes. He does very, very, very low runs of stuff.
Right.
He does amazing work.
And the great thing about people who order from fans, especially like one-man fan operation, guys just doing small, short runs of figures or parts. The great thing about all of the people who order from those is that they completely understand that it's a one-man operation and that they're very, very, very patient. And they never push the person who's making these, where's my figure? Where's my figure? And they understand it can take a very long time. Wink.
I think that's
wink.
the key when you're working, and we're getting into a whole different realm here of customs, but
Yeah.
when you're looking at toys that are fan made, you're also rolling the dice, because
Exactly. Yeah.
whether or not they actually get made, it's somebody's passion project. It's something they're trying to do. Hey, they might not have the production know-how. They might not know the process or what goes into tooling or even making molds like me. That's why I did so many of these, is I was trying to get the molds to pull right, and I was trying to get my resin cast to fill right. I learned a ton just doing this, and I've done a whole bunch of molding before back in school doing product design. So you're rolling the dice, and you don't have any customer support or you don't have any sort of recourse that you can really have, other than complaining about it on social media, that you don't get your stuff. So it's a chance, and guys that the guys like Toy Weaver, who have consistently brought out really, really cool stuff, you can trust a little bit more. But that is something I'm kind of careful about myself. So Toy Weaver is just, his Instagram page is just full of these amazing works of art, and they're not cheap by any long shot, but they're incredible.
Yeah. That's another NECA?
That's the Diamond Select Tron.
Yeah. Diamond Select, okay.
Yeah, that's one of the 7-inch Tron toys.
Beautiful. And the disc in the original movie is just a Frisbee.
Yeah.
That's another Metacom with spindly figure.
Yeah. They're very fragile. They do look pretty good on the shelf, I have to say. They're I would say over articulated. They're a little kind of flimsy, and I wouldn't give one to a kid to play with. They'd probably be in pieces. But they do look pretty nice on the shelf.
They kind of remind me of those very, like the original Spider-Man Classics Spider-Man that had the sticker on the packaging, 32 points of articulation. It reminds me of the line from Jurassic Park. I think Bob will appreciate this one. Just because you could do 32 points of articulation, did you ever stop and think you should?
Yeah.
So yeah, these are super articulated. I think the overall look of the body suffers for it, and they can sit in the light cycle perfect. They can do the pose that's in a cycle, but just standing there, I didn't dig it. And that's why I got rid of mine.
It's a kind of fun set too, because it comes with a little glow in the dark bar, with the light cycle, when they grab the light cycles, and that kind of stuff. And the way the light cycles open up, they kind of slide open, and you put the figure in, and slide closed, and as opposed to the original retro line where they kind of almost like reverse clamshell, and you just sit the figure in there.
Yeah.
It's really well done.
So you had sent a picture of yourself as a kid with a Tron shirt, which was just awesome, which shows that you've been a lifelong Tron fan. But I got a little surprise for you here. Don't ask me how I found this, but I found a picture of you, which truly proves that you're a lifelong Tron fan. And I'm talking about like the beginning of life, pre-birth, right there. His little embryo, Eric. with his
Yes, how did you get that?
with his identity disc, just waiting to be born, and then
That's
waiting
awesome.
patiently waiting a few more years for Tron to be
That's
released.
that's true Inception right there. That's awesome.
All right, thanks a lot for letting us take a look at your Tron collection. And now, for people who are like, I want some Tron stuff, there's going to be a chance. Unfortunately, it sounds like a lot of it's just going to be at Disney World, but you never know. I mean, a door gets cracked open and it leads to other things. Indiana Jones merch was a Disney World exclusive, Disneyland exclusive for a while there.
Mhm.
It led to other things, so I wouldn't sweat it too much. But yeah, it sounds like there's a new Tron merch coming out. This website right here, disneyparks.disney.go.com. They're going to be doing, it looks like the original.
Mhm.
Yeah, Tomy. Was it Tomy that did the original?
It
80s?
was Tomies that did the original in the 80s, yeah.
Yeah. So I always want to say NECA because they did such a bang on reissue of it,
Mhm.
but it's Tomy. And so let's open this up in a new tab, take a look at what's going on here.
Mhm.
I mean, those light cycles look exactly like the Tomy ones, which look
Pretty
very similar to
close.
the Metacom ones, but the figures, would you call that unfinished business?
I would definitely call this unfinished business. In fact, I would say this is pretty darn close to the Tron figures I was trying to make myself.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I'm really it looks like they're molded in gray plastic with the colored deco. I don't think they went so far as to try to do any sort of translucence or anything in there, but they look great. And what I'm seeing from the figures that I can actually see there, it looks like there's a Yori, and then looks like there's I think that's Ram in front on the orange light cycle. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's Ram. So it must be Flynn with the yellow one and back there, and then Tron with the red one. Um, but it's cool that they're doing the Yori. I'm having a hard time. These I can't really see how they're articulated. I'm if
I
the
think it's
if
5 POA. That would be my
Yeah, it
guess.
looks like it. But these could even be test shots, like solid test pieces too. It's hard to tell,
Yeah.
but they. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they look pretty much exactly what I would have wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And they went the extra mile on some. Like it looked like the guard or sentry or whatever you want to call him has like a little bit more molded staff. It's not just the glow in the dark rod.
Right.
So it looks like they've really took it in the right direction.
He's a little beefier than the other ones as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, for anyone who is missing the original ones and wants to reacquire them, that's a possibility. Or window shopping. Window shopping is fine too. You don't have to get everything. I've been saying that in my videos lately. You don't have to get back everything. You can also appreciate pictures.
What did
Post those-
Spock say? Having is often more. What did he say? Having is often better than, or wanting is often better than having.
journey.
Right.
It's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
Because how many times you get something and it just sits there? It's like, Tron water bottle. I wouldn't mind one of those.
That's kind of
As
cool.
soon as they start bringing in the cyan, that black and cyan color scheme, I start to worry about my bank account because I got that real soft spot for Legacy. And a disc would be nice. I had the Legacy discs and I sold them. Kind of wish I held on to them. Kind of don't because they kind of sucked.
Yeah, that was a close one for me. I remember looking at them at the store, and I just felt like they were either a little undersized or there wasn't something quite right about them.
They weren't bright enough. They weren't loud enough, and they were just kind of cheap and kind of lame. Like I mean, they weren't the cost of those Force Effects lightsabers, anything like that. But that's what I wanted. I wanted like a Force Effects equivalent for an identity disc that did all sorts of loud sounds and vibration and spinning lights and stuff. And they just all we got was the bargain basement version of the identity disc.
Yeah.
But the next big thing, so in addition to those vintage ones, for the people who are huge fans of Tron Legacy, they're going to be doing these. So Tron Legacy had a bunch of 6-inch figures. which they had helmets, and inside the helmets were screens. You press the button, and the screen would actually play an animation. I've got a window here of it working right here. This is exactly what those 6-inch Legacy figures were like. They'd light up in certain spots, and there would be an animation on the face of Jeff Bridges or Garrett Hedlund, Clue, or Sam Flynn, and they would say some lines. So they're basically doing kind of selfie series for Tron, where you can be in the grid, and you can have you take a couple pictures of yourself. It'll animate it to make it look like you're talking, and record some audio of yourself. Pay a hell of a lot of money, so $90 in addition to a trip to Disney World. So I guess 90 is cheap considering how much you're spending anyways, just getting there.
Yeah, nothing at Disney World or Disneyland is cheap. Let's just yeah.
But
So
for a Super Tron fan, I think I'm a pass on this, especially like I'm not really interested in getting myself as a figure, whether it's Hasbro selfie series or Tron. But this is cool. I am happy for the Tron fans who get to be in the grid, and this is what's really cool. You can pick your color too. So if your favorite color is red or blue or whatever, you pick the body. You know, you could go with the Tron T or one of the other bodies, and you can be a Tron program.
I think that's fun, and it's like I've heard weird criticism of the selfie series and stuff, but I mean, it's
what?
Yeah,
are you serious?
Yeah. But
that's unusual.
Go figure, right? But I do think that it's a fun idea, and it's a neat keepsake, and if somebody wants a representation of themselves in action figure form, go for it. I think everyone gets those attachments to figures that look either like themselves or vaguely like themselves, and it's fun.
Yeah.
We were kids. We dream of having an action figure that looked like ourselves. If you can do it now,
and not just for yourself too. I mean, the phrase selfie series implies like you're just getting it for yourself, but this would make a pretty spectacular gift for that Tron fan in your life that doesn't want to do this for themselves. And I don't know how you would really do that without them suspecting something, but it can also be a gift. That's some of my favorite toys are toys that I saw on shelves and passed on and said, that's not really something I want to buy. But when a friend got it for me, in addition to, hey, you know what, that's cool to get it as a gift, it's also the sentimental attachment to it of, wow, that was a really thoughtful gift. So that would take quite a bit of stealth, I think, some subterfuge maybe.
Can you hold it straightforward? Okay, rotate 90 degrees to the left. Exact. No reason. Not doing anything with these.
No. You might be able to grab some video of somebody, and I don't know if it's going to be the lines they'll really appreciate, because you'd want, like, as a Tron fan, what would you want your Tron program figure saying? Like greetings programs and end of line man.
Insert quarter here.
You know what mine would say? Mine would say, knocked it out of the park. Just like when I was a kid. It feels the same as
knocked it out of the grid.
Knocked it out of the grid. Yeah, and another really cool touch is it comes with the arcade. The box it comes in is where is it? There's another picture right here.
That's cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. So there it is. Yeah.
Well, that even looks like a little bit better than just a box too. I mean, it looks like there's
the clear handle on it.
Plastic. Yeah, that's really
just
cool.
Like the original machine. I saw one of these a couple of years ago at a local arcade. A pinup in Waterloo, Ontario. I don't know if it's still there. Comes and goes, sort of, but it blew my mind when I saw the actual original and beautifully restored by Shea there. Tron cabinet.
Yeah. That's definitely a bucket item of mine. There's like 3 or 4 arcade games that I'd love to have a full-size replica. That's definitely one of them.
Did you know about the what is it? One Up Arcade, the home arcade ones? They
I
did Tron,
did,
right?
yeah, yeah. That was one of those where it was in such high demand, and I don't think they produced very many of them.
Oh,
They
that's
went
bad.
on eBay instantly for many, many times the original price.
Oh
But
no.
yeah, one of these days, if I ever see a deal on one or something like that, those arcade one up machines are really nice. They're kind of fun little trinkets, if you will. I've heard some complaints about quality control on those, like they're a little on the fragile side. A
Oh
lot of
no.
people, yeah, a lot of people will switch out the joysticks and the buttons for Sanwa parts.
Mm.
Things like that. So I'm always, it's kind of one of those like look from afar, and if I ever happen to see one for a deal, I might think about it. But the Mortal Kombat 2 arcade one up has been on my kind of like maybe I will, maybe I won't, maybe I will. It's been in my Amazon basket many many times, and I've just never pulled the trigger.
Yeah. I don't have any of these, but
Mhm.
and there's nothing like playing on an actual arcade machine.
Yeah,
That's
true.
that's the pinnacle, standing up and using the actual joystick. But if I were to have one, just one home arcade unit, this would be it, and it wouldn't be to play
Hmm.
Tron. It would just be to sit there and look amazing, just basically be a giant display piece. Because
Hmm.
um, the Tron cabinet to me, more than any other arcade cabinet, and I'm saying this as a guy who never played Tron when I was a kid.
Hmm.
I wasn't into the actual game, but that clear joystick right there and the
Yeah,
graphics on it, the graphics on the side, which you can't see.
lit up with the little spinner on the side, and
And
yeah.
inside,
Hmm.
at Pinup Arcade, he put in an extra screen so that there was an animation of the what was the thing spinning in the background?
Oh, really? The master control thing?
Yeah, originally it was just I think a still image that was backlit,
Hmm.
but at in the Waterloo Arcade, he put in an animated
Oh, awesome.
screen, so it was actually always spinning in there. It's a work of art.
Yeah. Well, one of the ones that the other Tron arcade game, Discs of Tron, was one that, like, when I was a kid, I was afraid to play it because it looked really intimidating. But if you find, like, some of the cabinets have this holographic effect where it's like a uses a reflective kind of screen, so it's actually the screen's mounted down, and then you're seeing the reflection of it, and it looks 3D. It looks really crazy. There's a couple different versions of the cabinet, but the holographic one is really really rare. I've seen it a couple of times. There was a arcade called I can't even remember what it's called now. It's on Alameda, but it's a retro arcade, and they had Discs of Tron there, and I used to go and play that a lot. I'd really never played it, back in the day. I was always afraid to. It
Yeah,
always looked like really scary for some reason.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a really really good one too.
Mhm. So that is the Tron news so far, and that's a lot of big news. So
Pretty huge.
unfortunately, like we said, it's not going to be available everywhere. Um, say la vie.
Hmm.
But I mean, and Tron has been around for the last couple of years. Like you talked about the Diamond Select stuff that you picked up and the NECA reissue. So it keeps popping up here and there. Um,
It's always felt kind of niche, like somebody would get the license and do a few things and this and that, and then you don't see anything for a while. Like Metacom did the Bear Bricks, and they did
yeah.
the Tron Bear Brick ones, and they did the other little figures, and yeah, you just see it pop up every once in a while, and then it just seems to kind of go back to sleep.
Well, every time a property dies and then they try to bring it back, the
Hmm.
expectation is that it's going to be gangbusters and it's going to
Hmm.
make rake in tons and tons of money, kind of like Star Wars, right? Star Wars was big, died, and then came back bigger
Hmm.
than ever, you could say, or at least as big. And that's the hope, I think, always for Tron. But yeah, niche. Tron is niche. I don't think it'll
Yeah.
ever be huge.
Yeah, I think there was a push, when Legacy came out, and then there was that really good cartoon, which the name
Uprising.
is Uprising. Thank you.
Yeah.
Which was, you go back and watch that. That was an amazing cartoon.
We
It
got to
was
do
on.
some commentaries of Uprising.
Oh yeah, it was on Disney Plus for a while, and then they yanked it off for some reason. I don't know why they did that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
It's in the vault.
and they really buried it. Even when it was on there, if you'd search for Tron, it wouldn't even come up. It was really odd. But yeah, I watched that when it first came out, and it was really amazing. And it was one of those cartoons that definitely had kind of a mature edge to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
when Legacy finished, obviously I would appreciate more, but I was just so happy with Legacy. I was happy to just keep rewatching that over and over again. But the big reason why when they shelved Tron 3, I guess it would have been called,
mhm,
since Legacy is really 2. The big reason I was fine with it is because Uprising came out, and the one itch that I really needed to scratch after Legacy was there just wasn't very much Tron. Like I'm talking Bruce Boxleitner Tron, genuine, real
yeah,
Tron. Bruce Boxleitner is Tron,
mhm,
and they fixed that in Uprising. Even though it's a prequel to
mhm,
Legacy, I got my fill. Like you get tons of Bruce Boxleitner as Tron mentoring the new Tron,
yeah,
and then is it the final episode of the season? One of my favorite Tron lines ever is good news, I'm healed. Bad news, I'm healed. He just destroys all the bad guys.
yeah, yeah,
So not only is he the damaged mentor, kind of Obi-Wan style mentor, mentoring from the sidelines, but he actually does get to do some um, butt kicking of his own
mhm,
throughout the series. And I was just obviously I'd like to see more Bruce Boxleitner as Tron. If they do another Tron movie, they better have Bruce Boxleitner in there.
yeah, 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 for sure.
And Jeff Bridges, the question of would Bridges come back? I think Bridges is a bigger Tron fan than Bruce Boxleitner, quite honestly.
Yeah.
There's that story of I forget who it was he was meeting. It might have been the director of Legacy. Maybe it's been so long ago. I'm trying to recall the story, but it might have been the director of Legacy going to meet him to see if he was interested in it. And Bridges goes, "Oh, hang on one second, hang on." He comes back in his home with the helmet from the first Tron movie. Yeah, I
Oh,
got it,
rad.
on display. Like the guy loves Tron.
That's cool.
It's not like Harrison Ford with Star Wars, drag kicking and screaming behind a money truck. So even though in Legacy it seems like they've apparently there's an out, they've
Mhm,
possibly written off Kevin Flynn. I don't think so. I think Kevin Flynn is basically the god of the grid now,
mhm,
which goes so perfectly with the story, because the story to me really was it had many Christian elements
mhm,
of Flynn is the creator. He created two people in Legacy. There's the program Clue created in his image, which is kind of like Adam, and then there's the Son, which is kind of like Christ, and that
mhm,
climax of Legacy to me is just more than all the effects, more than all the action and all the amazing music. That discussion on the bridge is what excites me the most about Tron Legacy. Like
mhm,
that, what Clue, the pain in his face, in his badly de-aged face,
mhm.
which is fine because Clue's supposed to look a little off and weird.
Uh,
He's not real. But him screaming at Kevin, "Why?" and Flynn's response, "He's my son." And that's it. Like
yeah,
that's
mhm,
that's the explanation, that's the justification, that's it. That's why he's my son. Man, I just love that movie.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. It was good. And I think what's nice about Legacy too is I saw it once in the theater in IMAX 3D. And I at the time I figured, okay, it basically peaked. I mean, I've seen it
Yeah.
multiple times on home video now. In fact, I might have to just sit and watch it while I'm up working tonight
Yeah.
again.
The first time I saw it,
Uh,
the 3D wasn't calibrated because
mhm.
there was a
Oh,
theater in
bummer.
Kitchener that was a frequent thing with them. The 3D was never calibrated
Was it
properly,
one
and
of those where you had to take the glasses and turn them the other way to see it?
no, there was no fixing it. It was just kind
Bummer.
of blurred and distorting the entire movie, which to me is a testament to how good the movie it was. I watched it
Yeah.
in uncalibrated 3D and I still loved the hell out of it. And then
Hmm.
I went to see it a second time with proper calibrated 3D and went, "Oh yeah, that's even
Well, it's
better."
it's really jaw dropping too because the real life segments of the film are shot 2D,
Yeah.
and then when they jump into the world, and it's like all of a sudden that 3D, and it's like, whoa, you know.
It's the most
Um,
perfect use of 3D in any
yeah.
movie ever. And yeah, I've seen Avatar, but in Tron Legacy, like even when I watch it at home, not in 3D, I still get that effect. But I still vividly remember in the theater, especially the second and third time, watching all the intro of the movie in 2D, and then
Hmm.
when he zoom, downloads into the grid, it feels different. It doesn't just
Yeah.
look different. It feels like I'm surrounded by the grid,
Hmm.
and everything just the perfect amount. Not just beat you over the head 3D, but the subtlety and the nuance of the 3D that they used in the grid scenes as well. I feel like I peaked, and after that, Avatar was very pretty, but
Yeah.
I don't think anything can hold a candle to Tron Legacy in 3D. It's
No.
it's
Yeah.
like I don't have a 3D projector. The one reason I would ever buy a 3D projector is because I bought that big everything Tron box
Yeah.
set that came in the
Hmm.
light up disc.
Hmm.
And it's got the first movie, it's the second movie, it's got the second movie in 3D as well, and it's got
Hmm.
all the extra stuff. And so I've got this disc I never would have bought otherwise. It's just sitting in the box set, this 3D disc that kind of it calls to me. Get a 3D projector. I'm like, no, I won't. Maybe I will get it for just one movie.
It's worth it. My projectors, I specifically bought a 3D one because my last TV had 3D, and it's like, well, I mean, yeah, these 3D discs, you got to play them on something, right? But yeah, it's really cool. Even on home 3D projection, it looks pretty awesome.
Mhm. All right, let's end this line, wrap this program up, and that's all the Tron talk for now. But if there's more Tron stuff, we'll definitely talk about it. It's nice to talk Tron with another literally lifelong Tron fan, as well as some commentaries too. We've got to do
Yeah.
some Uprising as well as the movies as well.
Hmm.
It'd be fun to go back and check out that first Tron movie, which not one of my favorites, but since you love it so much, I shall endeavor to enjoy your joy while watching that movie.
Give it a slog, dude. It's a short film. I think it's like 88 minutes.
Yeah, and Jeff Bridges is in it too, and
Yeah.
Bruce Boxleitner. Although I still think Bruce wasn't in it enough. It's funny. The movie's called Tron. He's not the star
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. He's barely in it. Yeah.
And then what must it have been like for him when he did Legacy? Like, here we go again. The movie's
Mhm.
called Tron, and I've got 2 minutes of screen time.
He probably told him in his contract, as long as you don't have to get me into one of those bodysuits, we're okay.
Yeah. So, if he does the third movie and he's in it for another minute or two, it should be just another day at the office for him. It's like, that's my
Yeah.
lot in life. I star in movies that I'm barely in.
Yeah. Well, they set it up in Legacy. They set up what he should be doing. So we'll see if they stay with it.
Yeah, hopefully. All right. Thanks for joining me, Eric. And
Thank you.
thanks everyone for watching along. And until next time. End of line.
Nervous to say and end of line.
End of line, yeah.